So when I started with lettering wasn't even a thing. When I told people that I was a lettering artist, people really didn't know what I was talking about. So when I started creating lettering and doing illustrations, I was craving for more creativity in my life. And I was working as a graphic designer, which I used to be, and creative director, but the work didn't feel special. I felt that it could be done by anyone. And I wanted to really express myself and make a mark through my work. And today I want to tell you a little bit about my story because you may see yourself in that story. Welcome to Open Studio Podcast, space for lettering artists, illustrators, and creatives who are determined to thrive in their passion. I'm Martina Flor, and I've been through the ups and downs of building a successful creative business. From struggling to make ends meet to achieving my dream of becoming an award-winning lettering designer, I've learned valuable lessons along the way. Now, I'm here to share those lessons, strategies, and tips so that your journey can be smoother. Whether you're looking to turn your passion into a career or want insights to boost your creative business, this podcast is your guide. Join me on the Open Studio Podcast and let's make your creative dreams a reality. Hello and welcome to another episode of Open Studio. I'm your host, Martina Flor, and yesterday was the first live session of my once-a-year workshop series, and it was really fantastic. We dive into what I like to call the lettering revolution, introducing attendees to all the possibilities that the world of lettering design enables for them and for you. So if you were there, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you weren't there, don't worry, you're just on time to join us. Just head over to martinaflor.com/masterclass and sign up for free. It is completely for free and it only happens once a year. Plus, when you sign up, you will have access to the session we had yesterday and all the upcoming live sessions. And today, I'm buzzing after the things that happened yesterday because by telling all the attendees about all the possibilities I had with lettering design when I started and the possibilities they have nowadays by starting a career in lettering design, it reminded me of my own beginnings. And today, I want to tell you a little bit about my story because you may see yourself in that story. So when I started with lettering wasn't even a thing. When I told people that I was a lettering artist, people really didn't know what I was talking about. And this has changed radically. And yesterday I explained why lettering has become an established expertise. But let's go back to the very beginnings and why I got started with lettering in the first place. So when I started creating lettering and doing illustrations, I was craving for more creativity in my life. As a graphic designer, I'm originally a graphic designer, and I was working as a graphic designer, which I used to be, and creative director. My job involved lots of meetings and calls, but the work didn't feel special. I felt that it could be done by anyone, and I wanted to really express myself and make a mark through my work. I remember that I used to admire other illustrators or artists who were doing work that felt really unique. And I was there as a graphic designer, I was doing work that was really, really random and really didn't feel unique at all. And what I did at the time is that every night after coming back from my day job, I would draw. And I will also think about a future where I could be creative all the time. So I dreamt of the day where work will make me happy. I was always thinking like, how would life would be if I could do what I do now in these 2 hours in the night? What if that would fill my days? And I felt that, would be amazing. And I remember that at that time, I had a full-time job and I really wanted more flexibility in my life. I remember that at that time, I was really into traveling and discovering places. And at that time, I only had like 2 weeks holidays and I had to go to the office from 9 to 5. And I felt like I didn't have any flexibility in my life. So I wanted to, in a way, have that time flexibility, but also to decide when to take breaks, when to work, and also dreamt of working from anywhere because I really wanted to see places. And at that time, I had to go to the office, I had to work in a place. So I wanted that flexibility in my life, that capability to work from wherever I was. And I was also looking to do not just any random design job, but to really work on projects that really lit me up. And I have to say that realizing the importance of these goals in my life was the first step towards a change. So I decided to double down on my interests and the things that I was doing that were, so I decided to double down on my interests and formally learn letter design. But of course I had a lot of objections. Before I started learning about letter design, I used to believe that you had to be born with an artistic talent to do it. And I didn't feel that I had this. You know, I come from a middle class family where art wasn't a big part of my life. My mom is a teacher, my dad is a doctor. And also I felt that I was too old to start something new. I was almost 30 and I thought if I hadn't learned a skill by then, it would be too hard to catch up and I would never succeed. But as I started learning about letters, I found out that being natural artist isn't necessary. Lettering has its own rules that anyone can learn, no matter where they are or where they come from or what the education they have. However, I had to really dedicate myself to learning the basics and understanding what letter design is all about. If I wanted to get good at it, I had to commit, learn, and most importantly, practice what I had learned in my work. So what I did at that time is to enroll in a letter design program, and this changed the game for me. Now, you have to bear in mind that I was living in Argentina back then, and this letter design program was in the Netherlands. So I had to leave my apartment, my job, and cross the ocean to go dedicate a year of my life to study letter design. Getting help and guidance has been like a real game changer for me, but it wasn't immediately clear to me. Before seeking help and guidance, I wasted years trying to figure things out on my own. And you may resonate with this. The cycle for me was always the same. I would start on Monday, determined to make it happen and create great work and stay consistent at it. And as I encounter a roadblock, I would start looking for an answer, get frustrated, and I would eventually abandon everything for a week or a few weeks. And I would do this until I decided to start the cycle all over again one Monday. So it wasn't until I made the decision to see this through that I started making real progress. So learning has been, and I always say this, learning has been really transformative in my life, in all stages of my life and also all stages of my career. I feel that in order to move from one stage to the other, you always have to bridge that knowledge gap that will make the difference and will let you jump from one stage to the next one. And I've implemented this strategy of learning in my career and business ever since then. So after that learning experience, I started putting together a lettering portfolio, and I was truly dedicated to the process. My confidence in my skills wasn't there yet. So I believe that creating more work and improving my skills will bring that confidence. And it did in a way. And at that time, I introduced a mindset that was really crucial. I started treating every project, regardless of its size, with professionalism. So I always say this, that in order to transition from amateur to professional, you need to start behaving like a professional even before being a professional. And what I did at that time is that I was behaving like a professional. And each project became an opportunity to grow and showcase dedication and professionalism. It wasn't just about creating portfolio pieces, it was more about cultivating a mindset that will really shape my journey moving forward. So when I started noticing that my work was getting better, I started considering ways to monetize it. I thought, hey, if now I can create lettering, it would be great to make a living as a lettering artist. But to be honest, never thought I could actually make money from it, because I used to ask myself, who would pay me for doing something I love doing anyways? And you may be wondering the same as well. And at that time, I was also fixated on the idea that if I ever wanted to make an income as a lettering artist, I will have to find clients, which I didn't have at that time, and I had no idea how to find them. So it felt like starting a conversation with a stranger living in a new country for me, because at that time I was already living in Berlin, where I live now. But as I got deeper into lettering and I tried to figure out a way to monetize my skills, I found different ways to make money, like selling prints. I remember that I started an Etsy shop at that time. I was working on collaborations, and I was trying out also custom projects. So I was creating custom lettering pieces for friends and family. And I still remember the first time someone I knew asked me to letter the name of a friend and create a poster with it. And she paid me for it. And she asked me to create this custom design, and she printed it in a poster, and she gave that as a gift to a friend. And I was really flying, because that was my first paid job. And realizing that lettering could not only be something I enjoy doing, but also a way to earn money, opened up a myriad of possibilities that I never thought before. And now, 13 years later, I have built, I would say, the business of my dreams, doing what I love. And because it enables not only the life and the lifestyle that I want to have, but also it allows me to create the work that I want to create and that I love. I always say that my business is like my playground. It's the container that has enabled me to try out so many different things with my skills. I have started an online shop, a line of products. I have published my books and started my online classes. And most recently, I started an academy where I teach hundreds of students master the art of hand lettering and make a living with their skills. And even started a podcast, which you are listening to right now. And it all started by learning that expertise. I think there's magic in finding a focus in your life and work. And I see this happening with my students all the time. I saw it happening with my own life and career, that when they start seeing everything from the lens of lettering design, their focus shifts and their creativity expands. Oftentimes we think that when we put boundaries to our creativity, we limit our creativity, but I really believe that is within boundaries and within limits that creativity really expands. And this is what happens when you focus on a certain expertise, on a certain skill, on a certain area like lettering design. Suddenly you enter through this window, which opens up a lot of other windows. And this is what I felt, and I know that many of my students feel when they discover the world of letter design. So if you are in that moment in your life where you feel you would like to find your thing and do work that really lights you up, I would love to invite you to my workshop series, Secrets to Success in Lettering Design. It's free to join, and it will show you all the possibilities you have with lettering design. And you will get to explore if this is something for you. So go ahead and sign up at martinaflor.com/masterclass. This is absolutely for free. It only happens once a year. And even if you cannot come to the sessions live, I make replays available for all those that sign up. But first, you need to sign up. Go ahead and go to martinaflor.com/masterclass. I hope you found value on this short podcast episode where I share a little bit of my story, which I hope you will find some elements that connect with your own story. I think stories are powerful in terms of inspiring us to take action, to also understand that you're not alone in this journey, that many of the things that happen to you also happen to others, that this is part of the process. And we are all trying to figure out, how to create work that really lights us up. So thank you so much for joining today, and see you on the next episode of Open Studio. Bye-bye. So this is it. I hope you loved this episode. You can find me, the host of the show, on social networks at Martina Flor on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a question or comments, go to martinaflor.com/podcast, where you can see previous episodes, find show notes, and send voice memos with your comments and questions. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube. Just go to martinaflor.com/YouTube to find them. You can, of course, listen to all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. If you loved this episode, subscribe to this podcast. And if you leave us a review, it will help others find us. Thank you all for listening, and see you in the next episode of Martina Flor's Open Studio. Bye-bye.